Today we will continue reading this book about dinosaurs. The book's title is Everything You Need to Know About Dinosaurs. Herd of hunters. Some early meat-eating dinosaurs hunted in packs, working together to take down animals larger than themselves. Scientists figure out which meat-eaters lived in groups by examining fossil footprints and places called bone beds, which contain many dinosaurs that died at the same place at the same time. We know that coelophyses hunted in packs like this one because more than 100 specimens were dug up at one site in New Mexico in 1947. Very few other animals were found during the excavations. When footprints of many of the same kind of dinosaur are found together, it shows that they probably lived in a group. These prints may have been made by a pack of coelophyses stalking prey. Most of the New Mexico skeletons were found complete and unbroken. Fossil finds such as these are rare and are the best for showing what the living animal looked like. Many paleontologists believe that the coelophyses found in New Mexico died in a flood. It is thought that the flood water swept away the animals and dumped them on a sandbar. Was the coelophysis a cannibal? One famous coelophysis fossil was thought to have been a cannibal, with the baby coelophysis in its stomach, but the baby turned out to be a young crocodile. Making tracks. Sometimes when a dinosaur made a footprint in mud or sand, the print filled with more mud or sand. If the mud or sand turned to stone, the footprint could be preserved as a hollow mold or as a solid cast. And this is the process of the paw print. Footprint depths and shapes. Dinosaurs left shallow footprints in firm soil. They left a deeper, more defined print in looser, damp soil. When mud collapsed in on itself as soon as the animal lifted out its foot. The first plant eaters. The earliest known plant-eating dinosaurs were long-necked creatures that appeared in the late Triassic. They belonged to the same family as the meat-eaters, the lizard-hipped dinosaurs. They were also the ancestors of the sauropods, the biggest land animals of all time. The Triassic plant eaters were bigger than the meat eaters. Their skeletons showed that these creatures had heavy limbs to support its weight, as well as a long neck which they could stretch upward. One of the smallest dinosaur skeletons known was that of a Mosasaurus baby, so small that it would fit in your hands. The adult would have been about 10 feet long, still much smaller than 26 feet long Plateosaurus. Plateosaurus was one of the biggest plant-eating dinosaurs in the Triassic. Its large body was so heavy that it sometimes walked on all fours to support its weight. Plateosaurus stood on its hind legs to reach plant food in trees. Leaf-like tooth. Plateosaurus has small leaf-shaped teeth with jagged edges. The teeth were not as sharp as a flesh-eating dinosaur's teeth, but they were good for stripping leaves from plants and trees. How Plateosaurus moved. Scientists use computer models such as this one to figure out how dinosaurs moved. The models showed that Plateosaurus usually walked on its hind legs, but it could also walk on all four of its limbs. And you can do this creative corner. Famous Triassic sites. Paleontologists sometimes get lucky. They might discover a site like one in Bristol, England, where all sorts of animals were found preserved together. A herd of about 50 platysaurs was found at Trossingen, Germany. Sites such as these reveal a lot about dinosaur behavior. The Bristol fossil site gives us a picture of a harsh plateau, full of trenches and caves. Lizard-like animals and gliding reptiles lived alongside small, long-necked, plant-eating dinosaurs such as Thegodontosaurus. We can imagine how the animals were preserved in the ancient caves. 1. A Thegodontosaurus grazes on vegetation growing near a cave entrance. 2. It falls in or is washed in by a flash flood. 3. It fossilizes in the mud that later fills the cave. And this is the process. There were several major excavations at Trossingen. In the 1920s, Friedrich von Huene directed teams of workers who dug away half a hillside. The rock was carried away in small trucks. What other animals have been found in the caves? Alongside Thegodontosaurus, there were spiky lizard-like animals called clavosaurs and gliding reptiles called Huniosaurus. Amazing! Paleontologists puzzled for a long time about how the Trossingen herd might have died. Today, most paleontologists believe that the herd got stuck in quicksand and was attacked by meat-eaters. Vocabulary. Plateau is an area of flat upland. Quicksand is wet sand that sucks in and swallows up anything that stands on it. A changing world. The Triassic period ended about 200 million years ago with the mass extinction that wiped out about 75% of all animals. These included at least 4 major groups of large reptiles. No one knows why the extinction happened, but the changing climate might have been the cause. One of the major groups of reptiles that became extinct was a group of plant-eating armor reptiles. This type of thorax belonged to that group. Erupting volcanoes could have caused the extinction. The volcanoes would have put carbon dioxide and other gases into the atmosphere. The change in the makeup of the atmosphere could have caused a change in world climate conditions. Before they became extinct at the end of the Triassic, land-living crocodile-like reptiles such as Saurasuchus were the dominant hunters. These beasts may have preyed on Rhododon. Many crocodile reptiles that lived in the water, such as Rhododon, also died out at this time. It is clear from their sharp teeth and snapping jaws that these animals were hunters. A group of mammal-like reptiles with tusks died out gradually over the course of the late Triassic. These animals were distantly related to the mammals. They were also related to our own ancestors. And you can do this creative corner.